The week. Again, my name is Latrice Torres, and I am the CEO and principal consultant for Leader Keys Consultant. We are a boutique and niche leadership, L&D, and HR consultancy for organizations, for teams, for leaders, and we hyper focus on career development for Black women. Now, I am here today to really talk about something that I'm really, really passionate about. So passionate about that I have several different workshops that are based on this. I also have a lot of resources, free and paid, on our website. So you want to make sure that you get connected with us because I talk about career development, career ownership, and really empowering you in ways that I think you're going to find break down again some of those gates that you have in these corporate spaces. So be sure to follow us on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. You can find us at Leader Keys Unlocked in all of those spaces. I also recently just launched a TikTok that is actually under my authentic and unapologetic brand, which is the podcast for Leader Keys. So if you want to follow me on TikTok, then you want to look up authentic and unapologetic. So let's jump into today's session about career action planning. Why are we talking career action plan? Well, a couple of things. I saw this quote once on something. I've been using it ever since. A goal without a plan is a wish. And that is really, really true. If you do not have a plan for your career will just stall. You'll have some wins here and there, but you're not going to get to a place that you want to be if you haven't defined where that place is. So we're going to jump into that and so much more in this session. The other reason why we're talking about a career action plan specifically is to reconnect with dreaming and achieving. I'll talk about that in just a moment. Also, I want you all to be strategic about your career and not be reactive about it. If you're here and you're watching this, I want you to react to that. Be strategic about your career and not reactive. Make sure you're talking with me. Talk in the chat. I answer questions at the end, and days afterwards, I'm still answering questions about each one of these workshops. So be interactive with me. Ask questions, and also just react. Tell me what you're thinking about the things that we're talking about in these sessions. And then lastly, and this is on almost all of these sessions, you own this part. So you want to act accordingly, right? If you're in the driver's seat, drive. You can't be in the driver's seat and then still turn around and chatting at everybody in the back seat. Like that's not the way that works. You really have to drive and you have to own it. And this is where you have the most power is in your plan. So what you're seeing on the screen is my favorite place, the mall. And not because I'm like some girly girl or anything like that. I go to the malls because I like to do a couple of different things. One, I like to eat. I'm not even going to act like that's not a thing. I love to eat and I love the variety and the choices that come at a mall. So I'm always like fascinated. I'm like, what's here and what can I choose from? Right. So I love to eat. I love to people watch because it's fun. Humans are fascinating to me. I go to the mall and people watch like Most people go to a zoo and animal watch. It's the same thing for me. And I just have so much fun doing it, especially if I'm with some girls and we kikiing it up and we're hanging out. And then the third piece of that, and we're shopping, right? But here's the thing, when you go to a mall, usually when you go in there, the first thing that you do, if you, especially if you don't know them all, you're like, okay, I want to make sure that we get to this store, right? So we go up to that directory, we walk up to the directory, and we are like, okay, I want to go to the store. There it is. And what is the first thing that you look for? You look for that you are here, right? Because then you know how to map your way over to where you want to go, and you're going to take the route that actually gets there rather than just kind of walking around detouring and just being all up in the mall and in different spaces. Again, if that's your thing, that's your thing. I'm also always looking for the food court as well, so I also got to know, where am I at and how do I get to the food court the fastest? Right? Because again, I'm going to map my way there. Your career is exactly the same way. You want to make sure that you are really mapping out what you're doing and how you're doing it so that you can be strategic about the choices that you make. If you do not do that, then again, you're being reactive about the opportunities that the organization is giving you. All right. And most of us operate that way in our careers. Whatever the opportunity is, we're like, oh, they're giving me this opportunity. You notice I keep putting opportunity in quotes. There's a reason for that, because that's the way we always like to package up. With a package up, I mean, I'm guilty of that. I mean, I'm 25 years in as human resources, and I'm guilty as that. We have this opportunity. Well, you have this opportunity. Like, it's the go-to word, right? But really, if they're giving you the opportunity, more than most likely you did not design that unless you said, I want to make sure that I am first, and you're thinking of me first whenever this opportunity comes about. That's a very different conversation than opportunity, stretch assignment, a little bit more responsibility, fill in, vacation back up, leave back up. We're not going to fill the role, so you're just going to do this other person's job, and 75% that's on that job. And no, there's not going to be extra pay or any title change or anything like that. But it's an opportunity. Like, look, we gotta get more strategic about that. If that opportunity does not align to the long-term plan, it's not an opportunity, it's a detour. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. All right. So here are 5 strategies that we're going to talk about in this next 22 minutes around a career action plan. Before we get into that plan, the first thing that you want to do, number one, is to get real with yourself. You want to spend some time doing some self reflection. You want to be able to assess where you are at now mentally, just like in the mall. Where am I at now? Emotionally and psychologically. Let's talk for a minute. When we are children, we have big dreams, right? What do you want to be when you grow up? And we throw out these big things that we want to do. And it's beautiful. And those things may change and everything, but we know we're going to embark on this academic journey. And every single year, we're crossing off another year on that academic journey. That's a 12-year journey just for, like, that first core education. 12 years, you're in, right? 10, 11, 12 years, depending on your country. 14, whatever it is, right? Before you get to that secondary, post-secondary. So here's the thing. We graduate. I mean, anybody who has kids, you know that there is a kindergarten graduation, a first grade promotion ceremony, a second grade move up party. Like, we celebrate every single milestone because it's exciting. And we're like, yeah, like, it's not just I made it and got through the year, which is what happens when we get into corporate. It is like, I'm one step closer to now my collegiate career, right? I'm going to get to that university, right? And then even when you're in your college career, when you're in that university of your dreams, and you're like, okay, I'm going to put in this 4, 6, 8, 10, whatever the amount of years in to achieve XYZ, right? We're long term again, right? We have been conditioned again as humans to think in this long term sense. And then we hit corporate, and I was going to say corporate America, but it's just corporate because this is worldwide that this happens. We get into this working mode. We start adulting. And what happens is that all of a sudden you're stifled into a year. It's like, okay, write goals for this year. You may get a development plan if the organization is really good and encourages you to do a development plan. But even the development plans that I've seen, usually it's like mapping out the next maybe 2, 3, maybe 5 years, right? I'm going to challenge you to think much bigger than that, because if you can think long term, you can make long term half that period. You can make that half of that half period. And guess what happens after that? You start celebrating again as a child. You unlock that milestone mindset, right? Write that down. Milestone mindset. That's what you want to do in terms of your career action planner. But before you can do that, you got to know, where are you at now and where do you want to go, so that you can do gap analysis, so that you can figure out, what do you have now that is going to serve you then too? What do you not have that you're going to need so it can serve your purposes? What's knowledge, skills, experience, relationships? What do you need to have in order to bridge that gap? And what are the feasible time frames to do that? And so that every year you can celebrate getting closer and closer to it. All right. That's what I mean by this psychological and this mental and this emotional safety that your safety net that you're putting around yourself, because you're getting really real with what you want to do, how you want to get there, and how long it's going to take you to do it. All right. So then the next strategy is to seize your core beliefs. You want to treat your values like they are the VIP section of your beliefs, right? They're guiding your life's purpose. You're picking experiences that match these values, that's fueling your growth, that's sparking your inner drive for more, right? So you have to really get clear. What are your core beliefs, right? Are you in service? Are you trying to make a difference in the world, like the elusive big one, right? Are you really trying to move research further? Are you trying to bridge the gap between what you do and all of this AI and technology that's entering your space? What are you really trying to do? What are your core beliefs? Is it access? Is it really just being able to connect people to services, to connect people, to connect people to organization? Like, what is it? What are your core beliefs, right? And get really, really clear on that, because that's going to steer you in the right direction. Because that strategy number 3 is going to talk about getting real about what your strengths and what your gaps are. When I was talking earlier about where do I want to go? Where am I at right now? You really want to make sure that as you are identifying those gaps, you also are being really specific and strategic about utilizing your strengths. When you talk about your strengths, right, then it pushes you towards your interest even more. So if you've never done Strengths Finders, it's a really great. I'm not here to advertise and be a commercial for them, but I think it's a really good one that is very accessible. If you go on to strengthsfinders.com, the thing about that one is that it's really focusing on leveraging your strengths, because when you are doing something that you like to do, you're going to give it discretionary effort. You're going to give it more effort. You're going to go into it with a different attitude. You're just going to just enjoy that much more, right? You're going to build those skills and make them stronger and stronger and stronger. Where you have gaps, you want to make sure those are purposeful gaps. Like, this is a gap. I need to fill it because it's going to get me to my long-term goal, right? Not a gap just to fill in a gap just to do it, because if you don't like doing it, then you're not going to do it, right? Let me give an example of that. So I have managed different departments, different programs, all different types of things. And anytime you're managing anything, it's going to involve budget management. If my husband was in here right now, he'll let you know I am not your girl for money. I'm not your girl for budget. I'm not your girl. Can I do it? Yes. Do I want to? No. Right? I'm going to outsource that. All right. I'm going to delegate that. I'm going to do whatever I need to do in order for me not to be the person who is doing that. Am I aware of it? Am I aware of my parameters and the things that I need to do? Yes. But is that my bread and butter? Absolutely not. So I'm not going to spend my time and effort and energy there. I'm going to do just enough in order to get by so it can get done. And then that is it. If I give that any more energy, then I'm taking away from where I'm at and what I'm really good at and what I'm really here and what my purpose is. Right. So get real about your strengths, get real about your gaps. Make sure the gaps that you are filling are actually fulfilling your long term career plan. All right. This is the work that we do at Leader Keys. This is how we help you. We help you with this career action plan. When you work with a coach, we do reversed planning. Now, I'm going to actually have an entire session on this process, right? I'm going to walk it on high level of what that actually looks like. If you engage with me as a coach, we work through that very specifically for you. But it's exactly what I said before. If you don't have a destination, you're not going to know how to get there. So that reverse goal setting looks like, who am I in 10 years? I don't care how lofty it is. In fact, I want it to be ambitious. I want it to sound like, is that something that I can actually do? I haven't really thought about that. In fact, I'll give you my example. In 10 years, I'd like to actually be a published author. I've had this conversation with several people who have always like, how come you haven't written a book? When are you going to write a book? I have no desire to write a book anytime soon. I still got some life to live. I'm relatively young. Don't let the gray hair and the grandma status fool you. I'm still relatively young, right? I still think I have plenty of life and things that I'm going to write about in that book. But I know that that is at a minimum 10 to 15 years from now. But what am I going to do at year 5? What would I have need to have done, learned, accomplished in order to at year 5 feel like, oh, that's 5 years. Writing a book is 5 years away. And then I make a plan towards that, right? So in 5 years, I know that I'm going to probably want to have written other things, right? Some more short form content. I'm going to want to be better at writing blogs and newsletters and things like that. So I'm going to probably give myself some kind of goal. Because if I'm going to write 100,000 words, I'm going to have to get good at writing 50,000. I'm going to have to get good at writing 25,000. I'm going to have to get good at writing 12,000, right? I'm going to have to figure this out. So I'm going to need to practice. I'm going to have that as a muscle memory skill to write at that level, because I'm not technically a writer. So I'm going to have to train myself to do that. I may even take a class. I may even join some type of a program that's going to help me become a better writer. I'm going to join maybe some kind of program that's going to help me understand this publishing business much, much better. I may learn how to do some things in that publishing world. Who knows? But what I know is that every activity that I do is going to be very purposeful towards that particular goal, right? And that's not just a personal goal, that's a business goal of mine as well. How better to serve my clients than to be a published author, than to take all of these things that I'm talking about on these classes and turn them into one beautiful resource, right? I would love to do that. So all of those things are playing and interacting with each other. Dream big. Think about what you want to do, what you want to accomplish. Write that both personally and professionally, and then we go backwards. We go, what is that? Because then I know what year 2.5 years from now, I probably should have gotten a couple of really big major things done, right? So I'm gonna know, okay, I'm gonna need to do this. Year 1 through 4 is gonna look like this, so that at year 5, I'm writing 50,000 words. I understand fully the publishing industry. I understand the things that go into creating an ecosystem for myself in terms of being able to move into that publishing world, right? I know what I'm going to need to do. So then in that next 5 years, I can create 3, 4, 5 more milestones and celebrate each one. Emphasis on the celebration, right? We're going to celebrate. That's what we're going to do. So reverse planning. Again, there is a session that's going to come up. I think I actually had that on the schedule of number 8 or 9. So stay tuned for that for your Monday Master Key. We're going to talk about reverse goal setting. All right. Strategy number 5, you're going to set goals and you're going to track your progress like a boss. If you go onto our merch store, you're going to see that I really like using that word a lot. I believe that I have multiple shirts that say something about being a boss on it because I'm always saying that. Like, you want to level yourself up. You're going to level yourself up even when it comes down to these, to setting and tracking these goals. You want to celebrate victories to keep you on that success train. It's just like a career. Every milestone counts. Like when I was saying about our academic career as well, every single milestone counts. Look, I had 3 kids. And I really was just like, do we got to celebrate every single year that they move to a new grade, like every year, and multiply that times 3. But at the same time, I don't think I can ever forget the looks on each of their faces every time, and the excitement. They're like, Mom, I'm going to be a 4th grader. Mom, I'm going to middle school. Mom, I can't wait to go to start high school. I don't know if everybody have kids like this. Like this. My kids loved the just like the move up process. They really, really loved that. They weren't all fans of like everything of school, but they liked the accomplishment of one to move to the other. And it is exciting and it is something to celebrate. And that's the reason why it's celebrated the way that it is. So it's worth it. So let's not stop doing that just because we're adulting now. Let's celebrate every single milestone, every single year, have some kind of promotion ceremony, whether you get a promotion at work or not. You promote yourself, right? Celebrate yourself. When you get that mid-year review, celebrate it. When you do that year-end review, celebrate it. Milestones matter. It keeps you moving to the next one. All right. So those are your 5 strategies. So what is next? I told you at the beginning of this that we do consulting for individuals, for teams, for organizations. So for you, if you're interested in this process of like really taking ownership of your career, and some of our previous master classes have talked about mindset. We talked about whole brain thinking. So we've talked mindset. We've talked resumes. We've talked cover letters. I have so many other things that are coming, but I'm kind of building towards that. And this plan, you being able to plan really, really well, is a part of that journey and that process. So for you, if you would like to connect with me on one-on-one career coaching, I would love to have you as a client. Look, there's career guides that actually sit on our page. Right now, you can go on to our shop at leaderkeysunlocked.com and you can access both free and paid resources that are on there. But if you want to engage with me, you're going to go to featured services. That is the page on our website. You'll go to leaderkeysunlocked.com/featured services. Engage with a Leader Keys coach. And it's going to help you. We're going to help you with creating your career action plan. And we have more career guides already in development. One is actually already out there. So forget the coming soon. There's one actually there, but there's more that are coming. So we want to make sure that you are fully equipped to own your career. For your team, if you're a leader and you're looking to bring in some career planning for your team, we do that as well. Let's get on a discovery call. We talk about what you need as individuals, but also I help with doing some planning as a team as well to help build cross-functional skills. So, the better, if you have people who are aligned on their individual development plans and you actually talk about it out loud, because oh my God, why do we keep our career plan such secrets? Imagine the power on your team if you actually had a team discussion about how everyone's careers are mapping out and what they're planning on doing. What are they planning on working on? What's the certification that they're planning on getting? I once attended, actually, when I got my first HR certification, I did it with a colleague. We went together, and it was just simply because I was like, look, I want to get HR certified. Like, you down? You want to go with me? And she was like, for real? And I'm like, yeah, yes. And the organization sent both of us, and we went and we got certified, right? So you just never know, right? The value that that's going to bring onto your team. So book a discovery, calendly.com/leaderkeys unlocked. And for your organization, if you want to get on a corporate consult call, we can add career action planning to your career management training, your existing training. I'm really good at aligning for that, aligning with your manager training as well as your individual contributor training as well. I really like doing this in the manager space because it helps them become leaders that really empower development. But I do think individual contributors really need to get much better at doing this. But if you are a organization who likes to empower your managers to be able to empower their people by them doing the training, let's get your managers through that training. All right. So book a corporate consult. All of these are available that are on my Calendly page, calendly.com, leader keys /discovery call / corporate consult / there's several different options on there just depending on who you are and what you need. These free sessions are available every Monday. They replays on our YouTube page. Again, Leader Keys Unlocked. Paid masterclasses every Thursday. That's on our masterclass page. And then you can shop our career resources in our merch and our store on our page as well. All right. Make sure you add all of your questions into the comments. This is streaming and replaying on LinkedIn, on Facebook, as well as our YouTube page, in which our YouTube page houses all of our previous workshops. And I highly suggest you go on there to connect with us. If you are watching this on a laptop, you can screen or scan this QR code so that you can connect with us. You'll have all of our connecting points at that point. With that said, I'd like to thank you for your time, for your energy, for your questions, for your comments, for all of the engagement that we have in these Monday Master Key sessions. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to unlocking some gates with you by providing you with the Master Key for the rest of your week. See you next Monday.